This is really interesting, guys, because this is a phenomenon that we haven't had at the Blue Lagoon since the unrest started in November 2023. But if you follow my channel, we've discussed this at length. There's a magma chamber underneath the Blue Lagoon, and we are talking about a lot about crater lakes and collapsed magma chambers that form a crater. So this magma chamber is refilling. That's why they're waiting for the next eruption right now that could be due any day. So every earthquake that appears in Svartsengi and in that area could be it, right? Is it starting? Because usually these eruptions start with earthquake swarms and then you can see how the magma travels. But underneath the Blue Lagoon, I mean, we've always been worried, right? Could something start there? And it's been heavily criticized because they're always waiting till the last minute with evacuations. We've seen pictures, people were evacuating from the hotel with sirens at night. The sky was glowing red. The magma was shooting out from the eruption site. People could even feel the heat. And then they're opening right away after the eruption, right? So this is a geothermal power plant, the Blue Lagoon. So if you're swimming in that pool, you can see the power plant. Looks kind of industrial, right? But people still love it. Costs a lot of money to go there, and it's their moneymaker for Iceland. So it's a very, very important part of Iceland's economy. That's why they keep opening it up so quickly after the eruption and leave it open basically until the eruption starts. But it is risky, right? So now that we're waiting for the next eruption and we see these earthquakes there, what is it? Of course, it's a geothermal power plant. So they're doing something there in the ground. Could this be man-made, these earthquakes? But even if they're man-made, you don't want to shake that up with that magma chamber that is full right now, waiting for the next eruption. So in the southern area of the Blue Lagoon, there was an earthquake swarm. About 10 earthquakes so far, and so close to the Blue Lagoon. So of course you think, gosh, is this it? And the parking lot of the Blue Lagoon has been destroyed in the last eruption. So without those defense walls, the Blue Lagoon would have been heavily damaged or destroyed by lava flow. So this was really, really critical. So is magma rising to the surface underneath the Blue Lagoon? We don't know, guys. We don't know. We can only speculate. Of course, the earthquakes are at a very shallow depth. So does that mean magma is already at shallow depth? Probably not, because again, we don't know, but we haven't seen deeper earthquakes that would be an indicator in that area that magma would be rising up. If magma is rising up, it needs to build tunnels like a miner, and that shakes the earth. So hopefully, guys, this is only from the geothermal activity that is happening at this Svartsengi power plant. And we know the water from the Blue Lagoon is coming from that power plant. It's basically a side product from the power plant. They're making energy and hot water for the people on the Reykjanes Peninsula. So they're drilling, geothermal drilling. That's what you do at a geothermal power plant. And then once they've taken out the energy and the heat from the water, it gets into the Blue Lagoon. It's basically their waste product. So there's drillings happening. We would, of course, like to know, did they drill at the time when these earthquakes occurred? But there's no information available. But, you know, the Blue Lagoon and the geothermal power plant have been under threat from the volcanic eruptions multiple times over the last 2 years. The lava flows were also threatening the Svartsengi power plant. They were actually getting over the defense wall at the power plant and were heavily approaching towards the power plant. They were just so lucky that happened on the day basically when the eruption ended. Had that eruption been going for a couple more days, would have been bad. So they have to think about how long can we keep that up with these eruptions coming and happening again and again. So this is going to be an interesting one, maybe, right? Maybe there's an eruption in the same area like the last eruption, but maybe there's an eruption somewhere else. Of course, you know, having the Blue Lagoon running right now, there's probably like 14.5 million cubic meters of magma in the magma chamber. That's their estimation. So that's the point when it usually starts erupting. But there's no preemptive evacuations. The power plant, they can really almost run it remotely. So they don't need to have many people there. But the Blue Lagoon has a hotel and has thousands of guests and staff. So that's a different story should something happen there. And we did have an incident last year when there was this eruption and there were gas emissions that were hurting a worker that was there working. So it's not without risk. So again, let's discuss this. What is your opinion? Should they now close that down? Have no tourist activity in this area of danger. Keep the power plant running. Yeah, keep it running remotely. And that power plant, it's a problem because it's winter now. And we had the problem before. If they don't have any hot water, they can't heat their houses. If they don't have electricity, it's a problem. And then when that happened a year and a half ago, I believe, people were buying like electric heaters for their homes, which was hurting the power grid. So it's a problem. So they should probably think how they can have a backup plan for their infrastructure. But also other power plants, according to studies, are at risk, even around Reykjavik, because we've got other volcanic systems that are showing signs of unrest in the Grindavik system, the Blafjöll system. And guys, we did have an earthquake at the Bardarbunga volcano, which is a total different story. This can disrupt air travel, and it's a big one if that really explodes. And that also had a stronger earthquake, magnitude 5.4. So that is really significant. We had some of these last year, but I really think, guys, we should have a close eye on Iceland right now, because since that Reykjanes Peninsula has woken up in 2021 with the Fagradalsfjall eruption, and since then, November 23, the unrest started in the Svartsengi area with first this massive magma intrusion that has almost destroyed Grindavik with the cracks in the ground, and then eruptions almost every month. Now the intervals have gotten bigger, but it doesn't stop. We already had summer last year when some geologists were estimating this is it, it's going to die off, but it doesn't. The magma chamber keeps refilling. But as I said, what if the magma chamber stops refilling? Right? So when they opened the Blue Lagoon, when the eruption just ended and they don't know yet, is it refilling? Is that a risk if that ground is collapsing underneath, right? If the magma chamber is empty, that's a large hollow space, and that's what volcanoes do. It collapses eventually once. You don't know when, but having a swimming pool over it, it's the question, guys. Thanks for watching. If you want to support the channel, check the link in the description. Buy me a coffee on my site. Thanks for your supers. Hello, members. And watch the next one in the end screen, guys, because this is absolutely crazy. And trust me, you'll enjoy this, but it's crazy. It's very, very dangerous what's happening in Campi Flegrei. So you really have to watch that. Subscribe, hype, and like. Thank you.